So which potential British and Irish Lions players' stock is rising right now and which is falling? This is Lions Stonks. As we, spin that meme out a little bit more. Squeeze a little bit more juice out of that particular lemon. No, just imagine that you had to invest in rugby union players based on whether they were going to make the Lions squad or not. Who would you be buying because you're convinced they might have done enough? And who would you be selling to try and limit your losses? Well, before we get into it, a reminder, we are egg chasers. And I say that because you may not be a listener to the podcast and even know who we are. If you stumbled across us, thank you very much. I'm Tim, and along with two of my mates, Phil and JB, we do a podcast, have been doing for 7 seasons and counting, and we absolutely love rugby. And we've caught up with the 21st century, and now, we're making some videos. So please do hit subscribe. And more importantly, leave your comments, because you will disagree, I guarantee, with some of what I have to say here. And I'm going to start with the first one, I think we're probably all in agreement. Elliot Daly, his stock has fallen dramatically. Remember, he was a starting player in Warren Gatland's side that took on New Zealand 4 years ago. I wonder how he'll be feeling now he knows he's not starting against France in what is one of only 2 opportunities left for Elliot Daly, because let's not forget, he will not, unlike a lot of players, be involved in the latter stages of the Heineken Cup to showcase his talents. He is going to be going back to playing Championship rugby for Saracens. So this is it for Elliot Daly, and I'm almost at the point of saying I think that was that for Elliot Daly. I think he might be done. Although Warren Gatland, the one caveat there is that Warren Gatland is a guy who shows faith in people where he knows what they're capable of and what they've done before. He shows a lot of trust in people where he knows what they're capable of. And he did pick him 4 years ago, but this time, I don't think so. Josh Navidi, however, and talk about taking your opportunity. I don't think there's any more of a case of it in this Six Nations Championship than Josh Navidi, who wasn't picked to start in the first game for Wales, came on as a replacement for the injured Dan Lydiate. Had Dan Lydiate not got injured, Josh Navidi might not have had the opportunity he's had, but he has taken it and he's been outstanding. And I just think against those big physical South African back rows, he might be the sort of player that gets himself in the squad. I would be picking him if I had to pick it tomorrow. I would also pick the next guy, but I have to acknowledge his stock has fallen, and a lot of people would say Billy Vunipola does not deserve to be part of the Lions squad on merit. I do think he had a great game against Wales. If he can have 2 more games like that, I think he would get it on merit. But what I do think it is about Billy Vunipola is he's such a unique specimen. There is nobody quite like him. And a fit and firing Billy Vunipola, I don't just think makes the Lions squad. I think he's the automatic starter at number 8, as good as Talupe Faletau has been for Wales. And for that reason, I think Warren Gatland will persist with him come what may. But hopefully Billy Vunipola, as I say, will get it on merit by having a good couple of games for England in the final rounds of the Six Nations Championship. Next one, no surprises here. Lewis Rees-Zammit. Reese Lightning. I was going to say Grease Lightning. Reese Lightning. The speed of this guy. Talk about unique talents. Billy Vunipola and Lewis Rees-Zammit have X factor that no one else can match, and the speed of Lewis Rees-Zammit is just frightening. I'm not sure he would start a test match against South Africa, but I think he's playing himself into the squad. Dan Biggar, his countryman. I mean, if you'd have asked me to pick which one of Dan Biggar or Lewis Rees-Zammit do I think is most likely to make the Lions tour at any point in the last year, there's no conversation to be had. It's Dan Biggar all the way. But I can't believe I'm saying this. I think he might miss out. He hasn't been quite himself, and it's always small margins at this level. And he's only just slightly off where he can be, but he is slightly off, albeit in a Welsh team that's winning, let's not forget. And I love Dan Biggar, and he's also a big game player, and Warren Gatland will know that. The bigger the stage, the better performance you seem to draw out of Dan Biggar, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him involved, but he needs a couple of good games. On the rise, however, that I think could have played himself into the squad is Chris Harris, who's been outstanding on both sides of the ball and against those big South African runners and the big back rows running down those midfield channels. I think Chris Harris is the sort of guy that can stand up defensively, and he's also shown that he's a real attacking weapon, a real all-rounder at centre. And that centre position, with guys not being quite fit like Jonathan Davis, I think Chris Harris has definitely put himself in the mix with his performances from Scotland. I can't believe I put this one up, you know. If you'd have asked me a year ago, I'd have said not only is Johnny May an absolute certainty for the squad, he's a certainty for the Test side. Best winger on earth, along with Cheslin Colby. And again, as I said a moment ago with Dan Biggar, it's only very small margins. Johnny May's only a couple of % off where he was, but that couple of % can make all the difference at international level. he might be playing himself out of a test start. I still think his body of work and what he's capable of means he will make the squad. It'll be the back three. Stuart Hogg, absolute nailed on, more than any other position in the Lions squad. He will start at fullback if fit. Then I think it's probably Liam Williams at the moment, and then one other. And I think that could end up being Johnny May, maybe Anthony Watson. But as I say, a year ago, it would have been automatically Johnny May. Tadhg Burn, I love this guy. I love people with brilliant rugby brains, and he just thinks half a second quicker than anyone else. He's got sublime hands. He can jackal like a 7. He played in the back row for Ireland, but he can cover all of those back 5 positions in the scrum. And for that reason, I would be taking Tadhg Burn in a Lions squad. So versatile, so talented. And I love him. And I think Warren Gatland will pick him as well. Jonny Sexton. This is one of 2 that I've picked where I'm really not sure. I'm on the fence. Tell me what you think. If you'd have asked me a few weeks ago, I'd have said Jonny Sexton probably going to has probably played his way out of it, but he seems to be slightly resurgent and a little bit back towards the Jonny Sexton we know, and he's got so much experience and pedigree and that big game winning mentality that I think if he's anywhere near his best, I'd have him in the squad. And I think he's nudging towards his best, and so these next 2 weeks are absolutely massive for him and for his half-back partner, Conor Murray, who exactly the same picture actually, seemed to be waning in form, but then has bounced back with a couple of good performances and needs more of those. And the scrum half position, probably the most open position in the Lions squad in 2021. There is no one player who's putting their hand up and saying, I'll have that shirt, it's mine. Conor Murray could do that with a couple of big performances. Equally, I think because no one is holding their hands up, I'm just going to chuck a curveball. In fact, it's got 3 little curveballs I'm chucking in at the end. And one of them, Danny Care. And it might not be Danny Care, it might be Ben Spencer, but I wonder, because there are players, there isn't standout contenders at 9, I wonder if Warren Gatland, this might be one of the positions he looks elsewhere outside of the national squads for. And Danny Care, I think he's playing absolutely out of his skin. And again, much like with Tadhg Burn, I love Danny Care's rugby brain. So intelligent, so fast thinking. And even as he nudges on in years, he's still got it. And could he have it for one more Lions tour? Maybe. I don't expect that to happen, but I'm just chucking it in. Another one, a Harlequins teammate of Danny Care's, is Joe Marler. Not involved with England out of choice, but in a funny way, could that have helped Joe Marler? Because he's not involved, so you don't think of him in the context of a misfiring England team. You think of him the destructive scrummager in the World Cup. And I wonder if as a result of that, his stock may have risen. I would pick Joe Marler for my Lions squad in the loose head position. And kind of for similar reasons, Joe Launchbury, who hasn't been able to take part in the Six Nations with England due to injury, and I think that he's the one player they really miss. They've changed it up for Charlie Ewels this time. It was Johnny Hill before. I just think Joe Launchbury, his engine is unbelievable. The work rate of the guy is phenomenal. And it's the same. When you take him out of the Wasps team, they look a completely different team. Joe Launchbury, so important and does so much work that never gets mentioned by commentators and you don't instantly see, but his teammates will absolutely know. And I think Joe Launchbury, I still think he could make, and if I were choosing, would make the Lions squad. But there you go. You possibly disagree, and you might say, well, you've just been really parochial there, Tim, picking 3 Englishmen at the end. I know. Well, there you go. That's why there's a comment section, so you can tell me exactly what you think. So make sure you do that, hit subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.